Hello, my name is Tim Bradrick, and this is my code discussion for Milestone 4 for my capstone project. What I have here is the Unity view of my project um, up on the screen. Most of the time that I spent for this week's sprint was spent on the new assets that I incorporated. While I had the assets before I started work, the format had to be adjusted, make them look nicer, make them fit together, and so forth. Um, and what I did basically here is I have finally added the pieces in the neighborhood uh, and just had some bushes, the the new version of the walls and the trees that I've added. Um, and in the previous version of my project, I used the demo scene, and I have basically copied over some of the different items, made some of them prefabs, um, uh, renamed some of the items, and so forth, make it a little bit easier to work with. Um, let's see here. The first thing that I have that I could show is the how the walls and the bushes and all the objects actually adjust as you move them around. If you notice here, um, the wall is behind the bush, but if you move it far enough, it'll pop in front of it. This is a way to have the editor choose the location of the z value. And let's see here. Make sure I'm looking at the right objects here. Um, yep. If you look at this, it's basically one line of code. The main feature here is up here, execute in edit mode, and then it applies the sorting order based on the position of the object in the y direction. So as it moves down, um, it gets sorted in a higher position, and as it moves down far enough, it'll go on top of the other objects. Um, and because it runs in the editor, uh, you don't need to have all your dozens or hundreds or however many objects you have constantly updating. What this does is that only when this value changes will it actually get updated. So that's one advantage, and it reduces the load on the processor during the running of the game. Some of the other items that I have here, the bushes are set up in a very similar way. They will pop in and out, as well will the trees. I have 4 different types of bushes. I have a left and a right angled bush, and I also have more complicated bush for the fading. If you look down here, um, this object is composed of multiple objects inside of it. The fading left bush. What's going on here is that there is, let's see if I can zoom in on it. There is um, a part of the object, which is just the base of the set of bushes. This is created as a solid object in the game world. Let's see if I'm not looking at the right piece. There we go. I have a collider on it, but it is not a trigger. And then the other part is the extended part above the ground, and that is designated as a trigger. And I have a script that will change the sprite. And I have for each of the items which fade, I have a solid sprite and a transparent sprite, and that's what happens here. The solid sprite is replaced with the transparent one, and because it's a trigger, the character can move through the upper portion, but the bottom portion will block him. And I will have the walls set up like that in a similar fashion, and any other object that I want to add into the game world, I can set up like that. Let's see here, another feature. The trees are also more complicated objects. If I can go and select one of them here. They also have the Z ordering feature applied to them. But one of the things that I noticed is that the trunk of the tree was rendering behind the stump down at the bottom. So what I did is I applied an order for each of the objects here. If I can move the screen over, I have the stump, and let's see here. Let's see if I can get that to display here. Zoom in on it. Maybe temporarily move it out of the way. Let's see here. No, it's not separating here. Okay, let's try moving the trunk of it. There we go. There's the stump. Undo to get the trunk back. What I had to do with the other objects down here was to create some sort layers because there is height as well as depth in the game world. So I have various sort levels for the height, and as the squirrel climbs up the trees, the sort layer will take that into account. And as he's climbing across rooftops and so forth, I can apply that sorting layer to the different positions that the squirrels will be in. Let's see here. Anything else? So far, those are some of the features that I have worked on. The multiple parts of the tree, and when I come up with more complicated objects, there will also be the different parts of the objects. So for example, the tree is composed of the stump, the trunk, 2 branches, and 3 sets of leaves. And I can change the configuration, make different looking trees and so forth, depending on how I want the thing to go. I could extend the length of the branches to reach over to a rooftop, various things like that. And one of the features is the Z ordering is also dynamically allocated. It's very similar to the sprite renderer, but using the parent value. So that in this case, the tree, the Z order of the branches looks at the Z position of the stump and gives itself the same value. And let's see here. The touch controls on the squirrel. In previous versions of the game, I had the circle in the corner be a touch control, and what I did is I moved this script over to the squirrel, and then to apply the run value of the squirrel, I just basically unified all the values here to just 1, and then in the squirrel controller, I created a magnitude of how fast the squirrel can run, and this is an easy way that I can adjust the speed of the squirrel. There's a base speed currently set at 3, and then a value that's added to it equal to 1/5 of the run value. So if the squirrel has a 2, it would be able to move at 3.4 units per time, and then a 5 would be a total of 4, for example. So that's a different way that we can have the squirrel moving around. So far, that's all I have. Again, I spent most of the time getting the assets to line up and display correctly. So that even though the code looks a little thin, it was a little bit. A couple of them were a little bit challenging, trying to figure out or understanding and using the differences between a trigger and a collision and so forth on the fading of the tops of the bushes and so forth. So that's pretty much what I have for this week. Thanks.